Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do a list that I've seen everybody do in the last couple of years. 20 books in 2020, 21 books in 2021, 22 books in 2022. So I decided to do this year, I'll do the 23 books in 2023 that I want to read. Most of these are my standalone books that I want to hit sometime during the year. I am doing Serious About Series, which you'll have seen my video yesterday, hopefully, that talks about all the series that I'd like to focus on. But I have so many more series than I do standalone books. I do have a lot of standalone books, don't get me wrong, in different genres, but I definitely didn't want to leave them out when I'm focusing on series, but I own so many books in all different kinds of things. So I decided on my 23 books in 2023 to all be the standalone books that I want to read in between other books, or there are some series books that I didn't want to, they were like the only book in the series that I have, or they're ones I want to try, but I don't know if I want to focus on them. But I thought if I put them on this list, I could read 1 or 2 books of these every month and maybe make a dent in them. We'll see. We'll see. I just want to do everything. So let's just go through it. I'm not going to say, go any more detailed than that. But these are books all that I would like to get done this year, somewhere in the mix of all of my series books and classics and translated works and nonfiction that I want to read this year. I mean, I want to read everything. So, I'm not going to hit all these. This is not I have to read all these in 2023. These are just all ones I would really like to. Let's put it that way. So the first one is Cracked Pots by Heather Tucker. This is the sequel to The Clay Girl, which I read about 3 or 4 years ago. Really enjoyed that. We're following Ari, I believe that's her name. And she has kind of a funny little voice in her head, but I think it's like the 70s. So it's historical fiction, and she comes from a very, very sad background and stuff, and it's her working through things in life. So anyway, I do want to pick that up because I do have the book. I'd like to finish that. It's kind of a series, or it's just the next book. I don't know. Anyway, so then this one's All That Is Solid Melts Into Air by Drog McKeon. So this is 1986 Russia, and I think this is I think it's around Chernobyl. I think is how that works, is that it's people living there and stuff. So again, another historical fiction. The Mercies by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. So this is about a small island in Norway where all the men are lost during a really freak storm. And so the women take over, and then it's what happens when religious man shows up and tries to change things back again, and it takes place in 1617. That was pretty far back. The Chosen and the Beautiful by Ning Vo. So this is a Great Gatsby retelling from Jordan's point of view, with magic and her being an adopted Vietnamese adoptee. So anyway, so very different, but I do want to read that. Here's a historical romance, The Brightest Star in Paris by Diane Biller. I really liked The Widow of Rose House. So this has one of the characters' brothers. So it's kind of a spin-off. They don't connect them in a series, but they are slightly connected. But it has to do with, again, the brother going and meeting, I think she's a opera or ballerina. So, and he's a doctor. So, I don't know, it's in I think it was 1870s, I think, 1860s. I think it was after the Civil War. So it's around that time, but it's in Paris. So that'll be different because the other one was in New York. And then the last of the historical fictions is The Ashes of London by Andrew Taylor. 1666, as the city burns, the hunt for a killer begins. So there's a mystery in here. It's also about the London fire of 1666. And I believe this is a series. At least it says so online. I didn't know that, but I still would really like to try this. I've had it sitting on my shelf for quite a few years. It is kind of, well, it's only about 500 pages, so a little under that. So it's actually just looks really big. But anyway, I would like to try that. So those are my historical fictions. I have one, I put this on here because I just have not made myself read this because I don't read contemporary romances very often, but I liked Meg Tilly's Solace Island series. I still have one more book in that series to read, which I hope to read at some point. But I put on the Runaway Heiress because I bought this, I pre-ordered this, and I haven't read it yet. And I think it has to do with a woman who, you know, runs away from her violent husband. And then she goes under a new name. And then someone in Hollywood, a detective there, kind of helps her out with something. But I don't know, there's some kind of mystery. It's adventure. It's a suspense. I think it's a romance suspense or romantic suspense or whatever. But anyway, I just have not got to this. And again, I pre-ordered it, so I would really like to read it. Because again, I don't read a lot of contemporaries, but I did buy her, so I need to read that. And then I have, what do you call it? These are kind of urban fantasy, paranormals of some sort, all different kinds. There's Cackle by Rachel Harrison. So this has to do with a woman who leaves New York City, I think, and goes to a small little town. And when she gets there, she meets this woman who she's really thinks really highly of her, and she finds out that not everybody thinks the same things as her, and there might be more going on behind the scenes, some kind of witchery kind of things. Big Town, Small Town, Big Magic by Hazel Beck is about, I think, a woman who is kind of getting confused by what's going on in her life, and she somehow has lost her memory of that everybody in town are witches, and she did something that made her forget or something. I'm not sure. Something like that has witches again. Hench by Natalie Zina Walshots is kind of a superhero take on the hench people, the people who are the hench people underneath the superheroes. Our main character, she was injured, and so now she wants revenge against the superhero superheroes who are considered the good guys. And one of the villains says he'll hire her to go after the supervillains in her. I think she does it like in a different way. I don't remember if she is an accountant or something. Like she goes after in a different way. I don't remember which way it is, but I hear really good things about that book. Forging a Nightmare by Patricia A Jackson is talking about, I don't remember if they're, like angels and different things. This guy has like this special horse. Anyway, so I think it's only a standalone at this point. I didn't see anything online saying there were more, but it just sounded like a great urban fantasy because it takes place in New York City because he is it's an FBI agent. Yeah. And there's grisly murders. So, again, it sounds like a great urban fantasy. So I'm really looking forward to that, even though it's really kind of chunky. Well, no, it's almost 500 pages. So anyway, Devours by Indra Das. So this takes place in India, and I know it's a college professor who meets a stranger who tells her a strange tale, and then things start happening. I don't remember anything beyond that. I found this during my looking through books for series, and I was like, oh, I forgot I wanted to read that. So that I wanted to make sure it was on this list because I want to get to that soon. And then Blackfish City by Sam J. Miller appears to be, it says a strange new visitor arrives in a floating city in the Arctic. And it's talking about some kind of land thing, and there's weird things in the water. I'm not quite sure if this is urban fantasy or if there's more fantasy to this, but it sounded like it could be alternate history. I'm not sure. So I don't know anything about this, but I forgot I own this and found this as well. So I put it on this list. And then I found Icelander by Dustin Long. I picked this up a while ago, but it's supposed to be kind of what was it kind of say? It's there's someone's murdered, and then I think it's supposed to be really a strange story. Like it's told differently. I don't know anything else about it. This little book, and unless you've read it, let me know. But I don't know. It's one of those ones I heard it was kind of weird, so I picked it up because it's a weird book. Then I have two sci-fi books: Activation Degradation by Marina L. Lostizatter, something like that. I've been wanting to read one of her books. I have this one and The Helm of Midnight. But I decided this one, I was meant to read it this year. I just never got around to picking it up. I don't know why. This is talking about an AI that's up around the planet. and around this planet, and then somebody attacks, and then something on the system is wrong, and so it kind of, I think it kind of comes to life and then starts to, it's trying to save people or do something. I'm not sure, but sounded kind of cool. And then I have this weird one, The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez, and this one has to do with space captain who I think is kind of like a found family kind of thing, and something happens, everybody comes together, connecting through space and time. These outsiders will find one another and about with the things that they lack, like love and other stuff. Anyway, I don't know, but it sounds interesting. I'm not saying that very well. I don't know anything about it beyond that I picked it up. And then I have fantasy. So of course I have so much fantasy on my series list, but I also wanted to make sure I had some standalones to pick and kind of intermix, hopefully. We'll see. I have The Second Bell by Gabriella Houston. So this is a mother-daughter who are escaping, or they're left alone because something, I think the daughter has like 2 hearts or something, so they were kind of kicked out of their village, and then something happens. I don't remember. Some kind of hardship happens, something to do with the fact that the daughter is different. So I don't know. I don't remember because it's been so long I've had that on my shelf. I also have The Grace Keepers by Christy Logan. So I think this is a flooded world and there's a circus, and then it's talking about people who are working on that, I think. I don't know. I've had this on my shelf for a really long time. I'd like to get to that. The Maleficent Seven by Cameron Johnston. So this is one of those ones where the people did battle many years ago and something happened, and now they're coming back together to change something. I can't remember which one. 40 years ago, she abandoned her army at the moment of victory, and she didn't want to, but now she has to come back and redo stuff, I guess. I don't know. It just sounded fun. An Orc on the Wild Side by Tom Holt. I've had this book for like 3 years and I keep putting it off. It's just a standalone, but it has to do with an orc who, I don't think he wants to be in charge, but he kind of has to be, but he's more on like the accounting side or something. I don't know. He's trying to figure out, I think, health benefits or something. So I don't know how this is going to work, but it sounds fun. I've never read a book by Tom Holt, so I hear some of his stuff's funny, so I was hoping that would be good. I have The Binding by Bridget Collins. So this has been on my shelf too for a while, and I know this has to do with a young man who is doing something with books that bind up memories or something, and then one day he finds something with his memories that were locked away of some sort. So something is mysteriously going on, and that's about all I know. I just know a lot of people like this book, and I would really like to get to it. The Vanished Queen by Elizabeth Campbell. So this is a queen like disappeared many years ago, and then the current prince, I think he has to search out what happened or something. I'm not sure what happens. I don't know, but I think it's a standalone with just this one, so that would be good. And then the last one is, of course, The Chunker, but I really want to read this year. I keep putting this off just because it's so huge, but I really want to read this, and that is Dragon Mage by M.L. Spencer. So this is a coming of age fantasy novel with a young man, and has to do with dragons, and that's about all I know, but I want to read this so bad. Hopefully soon. This might be one of my mammoths. I'm trying to decide. I have like 4 that are competing for March, so this might be one of them, or else I'll read this in a couple months later after that. But I really want to read this year because I have put this off the last 2 years, and I really want to read it. So those are the 23 books I want to read in 2023 that are mostly standalones or different in some way from the other lists that I put out. Are there any of these books that you think I definitely need to read? Which ones I need to pick up sooner rather than later? I'm hoping to pick up, 1 or 2 a month to try to get through most of them. We'll see what happens. I'd really like to get through all of these. They're all ones calling to me. Again, once I make a list, I want to read everything. So let me know which ones you think I should pick up sooner rather than later, or anything that you think is just fantastic and I should not wait on it. Let me know, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.